James Charles didn't show us everything, and now Kayla Malik went public.
This has been like the hardest thing to keep my mouth shut on.
James has also made another response, and it's a mess. On May 15, in a 3-part TikTok series, Kayla broke her silence on James's involvement with her now convicted ex-boyfriend, Evan Johnson. And you're gonna want to see the video she used to expose them. Here's all the key details from her video. She laid out the timeline of how James and Evan connected. But before that, she prefaced the video by explaining she and James were acquaintances who collaborated together, but that
he knew me more than he knew Evan.
It all started after Kayla made her relationship with Evan public. James allegedly responded to her TikToks, but every message, Kayla says, he focused on Evan's looks.
He, sends me my video. Under it, he said, "Girl, who is this?" And I was like, "Oh, this new guy that I met. I think I'm in love. Ha 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 ha." Then a month and a half later, he slides up on another video of me and Evan together. It's a video of us dancing together at Yosemite, and James slides up and says, "Girl, he's so hot." And I'm just like, haha, yeah, whatever, cool. So at that point, that's like the only time that we would text was about him saying how hot Evan was, which is like, whatever, I didn't care. I didn't think anything of it.
At this point, they were just talking through DMs. James never met Evan in person until a birthday party in October.
So I see James, I say hi to him, and I introduce them to each other. And they're just talking for a fat minute. And I don't know how accurate this is. I was not listening to the conversation, but Evan did tell me after that James was just saying how Evan was the hottest guy at the bar and he was the hottest guy there.
Kayla says she dismissed it again.
I brush it off, haha, funny, whatever,
2 months later, in December, Kayla got another DM after she posted a couple photo in Hawaii.
I had posted a video of us at Hawaii together, and James, once again, our only DMs is him once again being like, "Oh my God, he's so beautiful."
Then 1 month later in January, Kayla and Evan went to Hawaii again, but this time with friends. This is where things escalated, and Kayla and Evan's relationship was basically nearing its end. On the third night of their trip, Evan revealed to the group that James had messaged him.
But we're all sitting on the balcony of our Airbnb talking. Evan starts saying that James is DMing him on Instagram. And immediately I'm like, what the f are you doing? Why are you DMing James? Immediately I'm just like, no, you're not going to do that. That's weird in my opinion.
Kayla says Evan even sent James a photo.
And Evan is like, you should go to Hawaii with us.
And James responded with
this, saying why should I come to Hawaii? And that for the first time is when I was like, what the f? Me and James aren't even texting like that. James is only texting me to say how hot he is. And now he's sending him snaps over Instagram saying, why should I come to Hawaii? That's f***ing weird. I would only do that if I'm trying to or if I'm trying to flirt, you know?
And Kayla had footage of that moment.
What do you mean?
In the video, you can see Evan holding up his phone with James Charles' face on it. And while this was happening, you could hear some voices in the background.
I did.
Weeks after their Hawaii trip, Kayla and Evan broke up. The day after their breakup, James texted her asking if she and Evan wanted to appear in a Valentine's Day project. We've seen this interaction already when James released the DMs, but now Kayla was basically confirming the DMs were real. In case you haven't seen them, Kayla declined the collab, telling James they had broken up. His response?
Can I have him now? Just responds, can I have him now? And then was like, ha ha ha, just kidding. What happened?
She wrote back to him clarifying the harm Evan did to her.
Imagine the worst things a human can do. It would take hours to text, but you'll see this series soon. I gave this man a platform based off his lies and abuse.
Roughly 1 week later, before going no contact, Kayla had one final call with Evan.
This is when Evan says to me, if you tell people what I did to you, that means you never love me.
Then came a shocking piece of info that Evan wasn't supposed to know.
He brings up me making a 30-part series. And I immediately am like, how the f do you know that? And he quote said a 30-part series.
Kayla was stunned and revealed,
the only person that I texted about making a 30-part series was James.
Evan then allegedly told her,
Evan told me that James had sent him screenshots of our messages warning Evan that I was going to make a 30-part series. Once again, don't know how true that is, but it makes sense.
Next up, March 1st. While scrolling through Snapchat, Kayla noticed something strange.
And I see that Evan had posted a Snapchat in the exact area that James lives in a backyard that looked identical to James's backyard.
She confronted James via text.
This is so random. Hope you're doing good. Are you with Evan? He says, what? Your ex Evan? Doesn't say yes, doesn't say no. I said yes, posted a picture, looked like your backyard. He goes, why would Evan be in my backyard?
The next month in April, during Coachella weekend, the fallout became public. This is where we saw Zach Sellers, a former friend of Evan's, expose that James had in fact flown out Evan.
Evan flew to California on February 28th. He stayed until March 3rd.
And now, this is the new part, the never-seen-before text messages. Kayla showed how James urgently messaged her.
Are you at Coachella? Yeah, I am. Can I talk to you?
Kayla, seeming to have an instinct that it was about Evan, brushed him off.
I shut it down. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you.
But James still proceeded to share his feelings.
He says, I felt guilty for weeks and I didn't know how to tell you and I owe the truth. I explained it to you from my mouth, not the Zach guy, and then you can feel however you want to. I'm annoyed with myself for allowing you to find out this way instead of just telling you myself.
The worst part, James put himself in a victim position. Despite Kayla being the actual DV victim,
he manipulated me as well and I fell for it.
She wasn't afraid to call him out.
I got so pissed off. How did you get to the point for him to manipulate you? I told you he abused me the day we broke up, then you texted him that day that I told you that.
Kayla was upset, pointing out James's suspicious change in behavior.
To me, it's quite ironic that you suddenly feel guilty about this the second that it's made public.
She also questioned why he would lie in the first place.
If you're just being there for a friend and that you think he's a good person, why do you feel the need to have to lie to me about it? You're being there for a, quote, friend that I told you was abusive. If you truly don't think you're doing anything wrong, why did you lie?
Although she was suspicious, Kayla didn't have the proof that James and Evan did anything intimate in LA.
Also, I don't know what the fuck happened while they were in LA. I'll never know the truth, but I don't know. I'm just gonna stop talking.
So that was the timeline of Evan and James connecting. Now what about James's apology video and the screenshots he shared? Kayla implied it was tone deaf to release a video the same day she won her court case against Evan, effectively making the situation about him and not her.
To do it an hour after I win the court case is crazy in my opinion. And all my comments are now flooded with, did you see James's new video? You couldn't even wait till the 8th?
Kayla also brought up a really interesting and compelling point James left out in his receipts.
James posted conversation receipts with everybody. Me, a clip from my sister's live stream, like everybody's receipts except for his Instagram DMs with my ex-boyfriend.
She even questioned the basis of James and Evan's so-called friendship.
I don't know what the they would have in common besides the fact that James thought he was hot. I don't know if I could think a guy was really hot, fly him out, and just like want a friendship. I don't know. There's just so much going through my head.
Kayla did acknowledge James's apology.
Moral of the story, I appreciate acknowledging how you feel guilty. I appreciate acknowledging what you did. I just don't think that would have happened at all if you hadn't been caught for it.
But her final opinion was,
he fucked up. James fucked up and he fucked me over. And it was a shitty thing to do. I don't feel bad telling my side when everybody else got to tell theirs. And I'm not trying to make this a drama, but it became one when you flew my ex-boyfriend out.
The sad part about it all, Kayla implied James may not be this good person he tries to paint himself to be.
And if this was not made public, I do not think I would have ever found out. I do not think I would have gotten an apology if it had not been made public. And I think there's proof to that because he kept it a secret literally up until he went public with it.
This video was flooded with comments. People were shocked at James's desperation and character. Girl, why does he want him so bad? The fact that he never complimented you and only complimented your ex says a lot. He wanted the full story from Evan, but not you? Some speculated that James was more calculated than we thought. Girl, he's so hot. And yet James says he never had any intentions. He wanted Evan from the start. He didn't take Kayla seriously because he did want Evan. If they didn't do anything intimate, it was because Evan didn't want to, not because James didn't want to. He was 100% asking to collab to make sure you guys had actually broken up. Men's was plotting. A few people brought up James's irresponsible behavior around an abuser. The fact James could have put you in danger with him telling Evan about the 30-part series. Some never trusted James to begin with. Bro makes an apology every year. He's getting so good at it. Others even called out people who sided with James for delivering his apology almost perfectly. He didn't stutter. She did stutter and laugh and get upset because she's human and isn't reading off a script like James. And they do have a point when you consider he has a whole episode on influencer apologies. Just listen to him say this.
As an influencer, when you grow a following, you will either say or do something that people might not like. You guys will be filming your very own apology videos.
Oh my God.
On the other side, James still had a lot of supporters. Some felt it was only normal for James to respond, especially if there were any allegations that were not true. Others defended James's "can I have him" text. Technically, you didn't really explicitly state he physically and verbally abused me, and many didn't think being an acquaintance meant exes were off limits. Why are you expecting his loyalty? Another one as far as to say Kayla owed James. You should be thanking him for bringing your story to millions of more people. You're famous now. But one thing was missing from this conversation. Show the Insta messages. And James did just that on May 16th through his Instagram stories. He opened with a letter writing, "I'm grateful she did not feed into the lies that she was told by Zach, while also expressing how I upset her. I'm sorry that I was ever involved with this compulsive liar, and I'm even more sorry that it hurt you. I want to make it clear, I absolutely did not pursue Evan or make a secret plot to take him from Kayla. Evan reached out to me multiple times, and I politely responded. I offered to privately share all of these messages directly with Kayla so she could see what actually happened, but now I will share them publicly to hopefully make it clear." James then shared 4 DMs with Evan. This one from October is when they met for the first time at the birthday party. The conversation was short, and Evan seemed to be more talkative than James. The second DM was the day after, where Evan sent a message first again, asking about upcoming events. James made sure to bring up Kayla. The third DM was from early January, when Evan checked up on James during the LA fires. The fourth DM was also from January, when Kayla and Evan were on that group trip in Hawaii. While it looks strange at first, they did not call. You can see Evan accidentally called James. Then you can see Evan sent a photo first and asked James to come to Hawaii with them. James responded with this selfie that Kayla showed in her video. They ended that conversation with James saying he missed Kayla and Emma, and Evan saying, "Gotta reunite." Now, here's the strange part. We know James and Evan met for 3 days at his house. James flew him out. He admitted this in his apology video. So we can assume there are more messages that he's not showing. Instead, he ended his story with this. "I'm happy that Kayla got justice for what Evan put her through. I genuinely wish her the best." This all might seem petty, but at the core of the backlash, there's a pattern with James Charles. If it were anyone else, maybe it would have passed quietly, but with James, it taps into this bigger frustration people have had for years. The desperation.
I'm desperate.
The blurred boundaries.
So obviously being that you are straight.
The reckless choices when it comes to men.
A 19-year-old waiter who he tricked into his room later that night.
He's technically not wrong for messaging someone who's single. And he's technically not breaking girl code now that Kayla admits they were acquaintances. But when someone tells you, "He abused me," you probably shouldn't forward that conversation to the abuser. If James really cared about either of them, he should have gotten the full story, not just one side. So maybe this isn't about picking sides. Maybe it's about him showing, once again, that when it comes to men, he doesn't always choose wisely. What do you think? At what point does being careless stop being an excuse and start becoming who you are?